Peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for checking in. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. Give you a brief update about these wildfires and the smoke that is creating a major air quality situation for East Coast cities. We'll share with you the latest of that. Also, we're going to have our mayor's talk with the mayor of Waterloo, Iowa. Mayor Quentin Hart will be joining us to talk about some of the big things happening with his city and state. Later on, we're going to be checking in with fitness guru and chef Elise Harris to talk about the issue of childhood obesity and why this conversation needs to be had urgently. We'll have that discussion. And later, Tupac Shakur, the great Tupac Shakur, gets his star on the Walk of Fame. We'll share with you what his sister had to say about the iconic rapper. Stay with us. That's all happening on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Folks, we got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in. The big conversation, the wildfires of Canada have created is wreaking havoc on East Coast cities. This is this big situation that's happening that has affected more than 123 million Americans, folks. 123 million Americans, and a lot of these wildfires are coming out from the smoke is traveling down the East Coast. 400 wildfires are burning at this moment, causing millions of people across the Northeast, Midwest, and Mid-Atlantic regions to have to be put under high air quality alerts. And it has caused millions of people a lot of discomfort. As I mentioned, 400 wildfires have been burning across Canada since Wednesday. More than 9 million acres have been charred by wildfires in Canada so far in 2023, about 15 times, which is the normal burned area for this point in the year. So let's talk a little bit about the air quality index right now, because many of you might be in some of those cities. As you know, there have been air quality alerts where health departments across the Eastern Coast have been putting out warnings, have been putting out recommendations, telling people to essentially stay in as much as you can. And if you do go outside, you need to have a mask on, especially in cities such as New York City that has been taking a real beating from these wildfires, but other cities such as Philadelphia and my hometown of Baltimore have been feeling the impact of what's happening in Canada. And many people are trying to figure out, how long will this situation last? Well, according to the reports and the forecast, it looks like this smoke, high quality alerts will be on until the end of the weekend. But there is some discussion saying that the remnants of these wildfires should start to dissipate by the end of the weekend. So we should be seeing some relief happening. Here's a map of where we of what's happening right now on the East Coast, and folks, it is in some cases is unbearable. A lot of the high air quality alerts have been geared and targeted for elderly, those who suffer from respiratory issues, children, and just for folks to know to make sure that you take care of yourself and you don't put yourself in harm's way, especially if you work out of doors. Now, along with the fact that people have been suffering, businesses have been shutting down, flights all across that are traveling up and down the Eastern Coast have been canceled as a result of this air quality alert, and games, sporting events, and other events that have taken place outside have also been canceled. So we're seeing a really big major effect on the quality of life for folks. And I want to get your take, and if you let me know very quickly, folks, if you are in any of these cities that have been affected by the wildfires of Canada, so let me know, post your thoughts on this as we have this conversation. But we, of course, highly advise you to make sure that you listen to your local health department, your local state recommendations on what to do as you try to keep yourself healthy and safe, making sure that your families check in on the elders in your family to make sure that they're not out and about, and try to limit going outside as much as you can until this whole situation, until the smoke starts to clear, literally until the smoke starts to clear. But I don't know, Keenan, if we can have any video or any footage of what's happening. I saw some pieces of what was happening in New York, and I'm telling you, folks, it's like something from a Batman movie. The sky was looking orange. And when I saw some of those photos and some of the video, it's just mind-blowing, the fact that, you know, one day you could be sunny and bright and blue outside, and then another day, let's take a look at that. That's New York City. And Keenan and Maddie, let me know if this is the recent pictures on this was here. But that's been a look of New York City. Like I said, I saw some with an orange haze over the city of New York. And so, folks, this is not to be played with. As we know, when certain things like this, for example, when the towers fell in New York City, one of the big causes of health problems was the debris in the air. The debris in the air. So we don't want you to play with any type of respiratory issues. If you have respiratory issues, if you have issues with asthma, if you have issues seeing things, keep yourself out of harm's way. Please do not go outside, and it's going to be something else. The orange haze is currently no longer present in New York City, but folks have been checking in on this as we've been talking about this situation. McCole checking in. Thank you, McCole. You said we have an air quality alert when I live in Ohio. Yeah, in Ohio. Thank you so much. There's also air quality alert in Southern Connecticut. It's better today, but still very bad in New York City. That has been one of the reports. Donita, thank you so much for checking in. You said, yes, New Jersey yesterday was bad in the house. I had to put an air purifier. I was constantly coughing. And I think, Donita, I've been reading reports that they've been saying that if you do have an air conditioner, that you should turn those the AC on to keep the air clean as much as possible. Thank you for checking in, Donita. Lori, checking in. Lori Parks, you said the air quality here in Indiana was reported poor due to this from Canada. Yeah, so we're looking at the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic region being hit hard for this. And Damon Blissett, my brother, you said it reminded me of the movie Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Right. We're seeing that. This is, again, they're expecting that the smoke from these wildfires will clear up during the course of the weekend. So, you know, as some of the June holiday celebrations, from Father's Day to Juneteenth celebration, there shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, this is one of the photos that I saw. Look at that, folks. Keenan, can we put that on the big screen very quickly? Yeah, this is wild right here. This is incredible. Look at this. It's an incredible sight to see this level of haze over some American cities from Canada, folks, from Canada. So the EPA and many other environmental protection agencies and any other groups that are working to try to keep people out of harm's way, do yourself a favor, folks. Do not play around with this situation. Keep yourself, keep your family, keep your children, keep the elderly of your family indoors as long as they can. Don't need a lot of people going outside, because the last thing that you need is to come out of this situation, again, expected to clear up over the weekend, but you don't want to start to feel the health, the implications of health problems due to this situation. So again, just giving you the latest of this, over 123 million Americans have been impacted by the smoke from the wildfires of Canada. 400 wildfires are still blazing as of yesterday, and we will certainly keep you posted on this situation. Thank you, crew, for letting me know what's happening into your neck of the woods. Folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, we're going to have our chat with the mayor of Waterloo, Iowa, Mayor Quentin Hart, to talk to us about what's going on in the state of Iowa and in his city of Waterloo. and, of course, answer your questions. So stay with us. The conversations are just getting started here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punching!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We are now shifting gears to our next conversation with one of our very special guests today. He serves as the mayor of the great city of Waterloo, Iowa. He made history as being the first Black person to serve as the mayor of the city. And as a result of that, he continues to try to move in the space of progress and forward motion for the city of Waterloo. So we are so happy to have him join us today, Mayor Quentin Hart of the city of Waterloo, Iowa. Mayor Hart, good afternoon, dear brother. How are you, sir?
Brother Muhammad, the honor is all mine, man. Big fan and just grateful to be with you today.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. First and foremost, this is the situation that we were just talking about. Has the wildfire smoke affected any parts of Iowa or anything in that area?
Yeah, they haven't had an impact on us as of this moment. But as part of the national conversations, not just the wildfires of Canada, but when we talk about California, we've been having conversations about that on a national level at the Conference of Mayors.
Absolutely. And what has been some of the big things that you can share with us from those conversations, Mr. Mayor?
Well, the biggest thing is that we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to correct some of the wrongs that have been placed in a lot of our communities, whether it's railroads that have come through Black communities and split them apart, whether it is environmental situations, whether it is jobs and homelessness. But the conversation with all mayors across the country is that we have a once in a lifetime opportunity right now with incredible federal dollars to be able to make some changes on the local level. And so I've been part of conversations that focused on youth issues, homelessness, making sure that when we talk about climate change and renewable energy, that it doesn't miss Black neighborhoods. But the greatest thing about all these federal dollars that we are starting to see come through is they have the thread of equity and access that's mentioned in every part of them.
So what we're essentially saying, Mr. Mann, we're talking about this, putting more resources, more emphasis on environmental justice, especially for Black people that have been disproportionately affected by some of these big decisions.
Absolutely, and I'm one of them. I live where I'm from. I stayed on the northeast side of my town for about 51 years. I know you thought I was about 35, Brother Muhammad. Almost all of my life just moved. But I think about it today. We just had the opportunity to work with the EPA, and we just received about a $642,000 grant to deal with environmental issues that are in our local community right now, and be able to take one of those sites to transform that site to be one where we have access to jobs. It cleans up that site and it makes it a more environmentally friendly area. And Waterloo, Iowa one time was considered factory town Iowa. Factory town of the Midwest. And so we have a lot of different environmental justice issues and things that we need to continue to address. And today was one big step towards that direction for our entire community.
Are you, is something, I'm here in Los Angeles, and one of the big, climate change, environmental justice issues was the fact of, switching over the cars from gas and into energy. There's that big push for 2035 here in the state. Is the state of Iowa, is that a part of the agenda for the state of Iowa and for your city as well?
For the state of Iowa, I won't say necessarily, but our power company is 88% right now renewable energy sources. We have one of the most aggressive climate action proclamations in the entire United States. We just partnered with Honeywell on a smart city initiative that's going to help us with sustainability. And so for us, the city of Waterloo, it's a priority, it's important. But Waterloo, Iowa also, brother, has seen 2 500-year floods in about a 6 to 8 year period. And so our infrastructure needed to changes in levee, changes in a broadband system or fiber system that we're trying to build to create access for our entire community. And so, yes, maybe not as a statewide, but as far as on a local level and what my council has been able to do, believe it or not, Iowa Majority Black Council has been able to do is to continue to move the needle to make sure we have an entire accessible, sustainable community.
Absolutely, because we got to make sure that the community stays strong there in Waterloo, Iowa, brother. We can't let nobody, it's just fall apart here. We got to take a quick break, Mr. Mayor. And when I come back, let's talk a little bit more about some of the things that you're doing, the historic nature of you being in the office, and of course, some of the other big things that are happening in your city. So stick with us, sir. We would love to continue the conversation. Folks, I want to hear from you, crew. Join us in the discussion as we check in with the mayor of Waterloo, Iowa, Mayor Quentin Hart. Join us in the conversation. You can post your thoughts on our YouTube on our YouTube channel under Roland Martin, as we're streaming live right there, and also streaming live on Black Star Network and Amazon News. So stay with us. More conversation, more discussion, more culture right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, We have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Folks, welcome back to the show. We have been talking to the mayor of Waterloo, Iowa, Mayor Quentin Hart, as he shares with us some of the things that he's working on, some of the conversations that he's a part of, as he was just one of the many mayors at the U.S. Conference of Mayors that happened earlier last week. And we're certainly happy for Mayor Hart to join us today to share a little bit of what the work, some of the things that he's doing. Brother Mayor, let's talk a little bit about the historic nature of the fact that you're in the big seat for Waterloo, Iowa. To break that down for us, how did that happen? What was the winds of change that created that circumstance for you to be in a position today?
Well, of course, I stand on the shoulders of a lot of people that have come before me. But, my parents were both from Mississippi. They moved up through the Great Migration. So I was born and raised in Waterloo, had the opportunity to attend all the public schools here, but just been blessed and mostly been out there working amongst people. So whether it was partnering with the NAACP or partnering with the King Center, whether it was working with the United Way, just been very fortunate to be engaged. Former youth director at Antioch Baptist Church, but on every level and every place that I went, just being engaged and working with people. But I ran the first time and for a city council seat, and I lost state rep seat, and then I finally won. And then I've just been blessed to be able to be on council for 8 years, and then one mayor. I'm in my fourth term of a 2-year term. So I'm up again to run again in the next couple months, but just fortunate to be in this situation, and a lot of good people that have supported me as well, because I only got one vote. So I'm just very grateful to be in this situation.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing. And many people are, and one of the fascinating things and reasons why I wanted to bring you on is because I'm going to be honest with you, brother. Iowa is, I know you know what I'm about to say. We don't even think that Black folks are in Iowa, right?
Right. Everywhere I go, they're like, Iowa. Look, Mayor Jackson, a good friend of mine, Chokwe, he always like, Waterloo, Iowa, chocolate city, right? Every time. But what people don't know, Waterloo, Iowa is close to about 69,000 people. We're about 17% African American. We have a growing Latino population. We were one of the largest Bosnian resettlements, 20 years ago. Residents from the island of Burmese, Congolese. Our school district probably speaks close to 80 different dialects within our school system. So not what you think of traditionally when you think of Iowa. Percentage-wise, we have the highest percentage per capita. So yeah, not what you think about when you think of Iowa.
No, not at all, not at all. But I was often in the national conversation because of the presidential primaries, the campaign season, which we are entering into right now. But I know that for the Democrats, that has shifted from Iowa being that first state to now South Carolina being that first state. Talk to us. How, does that change? What impact does that make on, the political landscape there, especially for Black voters in Waterloo and other parts of Iowa?
Well, locally within the state, a lot of our African Americans are Democratic voters. And so now being able to have that voice, have that connection, that's been limited. There's been a lot of Republican candidates that are coming back and forth through Iowa, almost every other day. So they're still moving forward. But for us, yes, it definitely we lose some of that attention and focus that we used to be able to do to shape some national conversations. But secondly, you also know it's a big impact to our overall economy within the state. In Iowa, you could get local television ads that can be shown across the state for a very decent price. So it's not as expensive as building your national campaign and platform as it is in other parts of the country. So you can launch here and have national attention a lot easier than you can in some of the other places.
And so with that being said and understood, because I think some folks, we may not understand the structure of how Iowa plays into it, that Iowa has a caucus system, not necessarily a system that's rooted in just your normal, ballot system. Can you explain that?
Yes, with the caucus system, you have to get up close and personal with the candidates. You have to have a ground game. And so on the night of the caucus, you actually go to your caucus location. You count up how many people are eligible, and if a candidate is viable based upon a formula of how many people they are and which ones support a candidate. And so it's a different way in politics, but it's one where you have to talk to people, you have to communicate, and you have to be organized, because it's not the same as just going to a ballot box and pushing a button. This one is people coming together, talking, working through it to choose the candidate in which they would like to see. And to give you just some emphasis, when former President Obama launched in Springfield, the first time he got ready to run, he came to Waterloo, Iowa later that afternoon and began his rise to becoming president of the country. So the state of Iowa has supported Black candidates being front runners for our national party as well. So I understand both dynamics, but I think it should have still been here, where you can launch a campaign a lot easier here than other places.
What do you do? What do you say, Mr. Mayor, around this issue of voter engagement? I know that a lot of my culture crew members, they always talking about the importance and necessity of vote, but the political landscape has certainly changed, of course, in this country, and our political interests as Black people have changed. Where do you sit on the discussion of getting more Black folks engaged, and especially now that we have Dr. Cornel West who announced his presidency? There's conversation saying that the Democrats and the Republican parties aren't doing enough for Black folks. Where would you stand on that?
Well, there's never enough. A lot of the work that I've been doing and why I decided to run was to change some of the challenges that we had historically. But I do think right now, and you also can't solve today's problems with the same mindsets that created them. And so you may have good people in positions that may not understand the dynamics of trying to unravel all these challenges we have, from systematic discrimination and racism, whether it's in banking, whether it's in home ownership, whether it's in criminal justice. But our mindset needs to change. But I do say right now, I believe that through these federal dollars and some of these opportunities, this is the best time in our history to be able to change some of those things that have happened to us that have made us fall further behind.
And that brings us up to this point that in terms of political future and just the social and economic future of this country, we've been having big conversations about how Black America is going to navigate through all of these challenges, the social challenges, the cultural challenges of the stuff that's coming out of Florida. What is Waterloo doing to ensure that, we get a more diverse, that people understand the importance of diversity, history, involvement? How is Waterloo working in that way?
Well, I just got to be completely honest. The landscape of Iowa has completely changed. We used to be a state that they were considered a state of opportunity, a community of opportunity, like Waterloo has changed. But, the voter infringement laws that have been placed by our state legislature, the ability to be able to bargain properly has been changed. And so our community has seen incredible changes. So not too far off of Florida. But, you also think about just critical race theory conversation. Nicole Hanna from the 1619 Project is from Waterloo, Iowa. So
didn't know.
What does our state legislature do? They put more restrictions on our schools' ability to be able to teach critical race theory. So what is the city of Waterloo doing? We are trying our best to be able to buck that conversation by creating a 1619 Freedom School, by working with the 24/7 Black group that's talking about changing entrepreneurship and home ownership. We have worked to create fair chance initiatives so that if you made a mistake in your life, then you have the opportunity to at least interview. And I'm not saying that we have this all summed up. We still have challenges. We're trying to meet those demands, but we're trying to march at our own voice, at our own drum, to try to change the systematic problems that we still face to this day. And so I have a city council that's forward on board, and I have a community, for the most part, that's willing to work, to partner, to change the landscape of our community, one neighborhood at a time, one person at a time. So it's a great opportunity right now for us to return to being that community of opportunity in Waterloo, Iowa.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Corinna Denise, one of our contributors here on the Culture and Culture crew member, she said, yes, Mayor Hart, more Black folks need to get involved in Black organizations as leaders, practice law, and legislate law. As for the final part of this conversation, we got about 30 seconds left, Mr. Mayor. How do we institute a pathway for that to happen, to create, next generation leaders? What is your office doing to be a part of that process?
Well, number one, my office doesn't just sit in this office. We are out there engaging with people. Ideas, we work to make sure that those that have ideas on community transformation, those voices are heard. Whether it is creating a youth city council to make sure that we deal with mental health issues that are taking place every day, whether it's making sure that every board or board and commission within the city of Waterloo that oversees our parks and community development, giving young people and different people an opportunity to be able to serve. And so I can't say that I necessarily have a patent or we have a patent on all of this, but we are trying to do our best to make sure that every level we are trying to improve our engagement with our local community and bring different voices to the table to help us solve the problems we have.
Absolutely. And we know it's a work in progress. And so, I'm very excited and I'm very happy that you're in the big seat, Mr. Mayor, to guide this process. But I thank you so much for your time today, brother, because we need your voice and we need your passion and we need you to be right there on the front lines, as I know you are. So thank you so much for joining us here on the Culture on the Black Star Network.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's continue the conversation. I'm going to talk to one health, fitness guru and chef to talk about childhood obesity and so much more. Stay with us. It's the Culture here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. Thank you so much for joining us for the second hour of today's show. If you missed the first hour, make sure that you check us out on his team replay, as Suzette Speaks says. As we talk a little bit about the wildfires and just have a dynamic conversation with the mayor of Waterloo, Iowa, Mayor Quentin Hart. We would love for you to take a look at those conversations and so much more. So make sure you do your due diligence. Go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com, blackstarnetwork.com, to see all of the past shows, past conversations, and continue to stay informed with us on what we're doing here on this digital media platform. All right, the next conversation I wanted to have is about health and wellness. And I'm very, very excited to be having my next guest, who serves as a fitness trainer and is the diva chef. Miss Elise Harris is going to talk to us a little bit about where we are with the state of childhood obesity. Now, before we bring on Elise, I want to share with you some statistics around this issue. Take a look at this, folks. This is coming from the CDC. And if we could throw this quote up on the screen there, please, Keenan, about where we are with the state of childhood obesity. According to the state of childhood obesity, roughly 1 in 6 youth are obese. According to the newest available data, the data from the National Survey of Children's Health showed that in 2020 through 2021, 17% of youth ages 10 to 17 were obese. Wow, 17%. Now, here's the other thing about this, folks. For children and adolescents aged 2 through 19 years old in 2017 through 2021 as well. Now, according to the CDC, here's something else for you to consider. The prevalence of obesity was 19.7% and affected about 14.7 million children and adolescents. Also, obesity prevalence was 12.7% among 2 to 5-year-olds, 20.7% among 6 to 11-year-olds, and 22.2% among 12 to 19-year-olds. Those numbers increased to 26% among Hispanic children, 24.8% among non-Hispanic Black children, and 16.6% among non-Hispanic white children, and 9% among non-Hispanic Asian children. The numbers are staggering. And so that's why we wanted to have this conversation with fitness trainer and diva chef Elise Harris to give us some insight on how we can put our hands on this issue, trying to get a better hold on what to do about the state of childhood obesity. So let's welcome her to the airwaves of the culture here on the Black Star Network. Elise, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. How you feeling, sis?
I am well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. First and foremost, you're working in a lot of different spaces. You're working in as a chef, but you're a nutrition expert. You're working as a fitness expert. But when we look at these numbers, Elise, I have to say, this is a sad, sad state of affairs. When you see these type of numbers, and they're saying that they're actually growing, that there's going to be an increase over the next few years around this issue. What goes through your mind? What are we doing wrong here that we should be doing, considering we have all of these other advancements and everything from diets to technology to science? Why is this happening?
It really does start in the womb. I'm going to say that we need to just be proactive and start thinking about our children, their nutrition, their habits, and think of it like it can be built in the womb. It really, really can. The numbers are definitely staggering, and I feel that COVID kind of made things worse when you think of activity level, which is really important, and us being locked down. It kind of changed the pattern of things, but definitely made the numbers worse.
So if it starts in the womb, and it's really easy to do this because I'm a father of two. So it's easy to say, oh, it's the parents' fault. But is that actually the reason why we're seeing this? Is it really the parents' fault?
I wouldn't say it's the parents' fault. I just say that we need to play a bigger role in helping our kids learn to love nutrition, be active. It's the small steps of taking them to the gym so that it seems like a safe and comfortable and well-known environment to them. And just, offering healthy food. I mean, it's hard when you are hustling and bustling every day, but with a little preparation and planning, you can implement these healthy skills and tools that will pass on generation to generation and ultimately keep you healthy as a family.
Yeah. How much of this is because that we're seeing childhood obesity, especially within the Black community? How much is this is because of a lack of access to fresh fruits and vegetables, because a lot of our people are living in food deserts? How much of that plays on this situation?
That's a great point. It's definitely a thing. I can remember being food insecure growing up, so my heart is directly tied to that cause. And yes, it's more expensive to eat healthy. It's more expensive to buy the fresh fruits. So, and especially with the climate, the inflation, all those things, when the numbers soared and how expensive food was, it's much cheaper and more affordable to buy processed foods or pre-prepared foods or frozen items. But with a little bit of knowledge in your wheelhouse, you can learn how to meal prep on a budget and still offer healthy dishes within a healthy money range.
Right. And do we, when you're talking about, putting some emphasis on kind of creating that start at home, that making the base the place, your home is the base and the place for you to learn how to appreciate healthy eating and nutrition. A lot of parents, it. I'm sure you heard the conversations, Elise. A lot of parents are out and about trying to make ends meet, trying to get the money, trying to do all of the other things, especially if you're talking about single parent households, whether you're a single mom or a single dad. You're talking about grandparents' households and aunts and uncles' households. It seems like there's also a challenge with finding some balance between, making sure that your children eat well, that they learn these, how to take care of themselves nutritionally, and trying to do all of the other things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis. How do we get some balance there?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Farajii, when you're talking about balance and all the things that we have to put money into, and definitely single parent household. You are really nailing it today, because I grew up in a single parent household and it was hard. But I would just say setting a budget helps for you to be able to start implementing these healthy, strategic, rotating these food items in. Definitely meal prepping, because meal prepping ultimately saves you money. It saves you time too, because you stay prepared, you shop in bulk, and you can produce a lot from a little in terms of food cost.
You know what? I've done some meal prepping. My family has done some meal prepping. I think that's one of the skills, Elise, that maybe we need to talk about on how to do, because there's an art and science to that. Now,
it really is. It really is.
Everybody
can't do this, Farajii. Everybody can't do the meal prep.
No.
You are absolutely on spot with it.
I'm telling you, it's a real art. Because here's the problem. I don't know. Like, I'm at an age where I can eat the same thing 2 or 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. My children aren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My children, my soon-to-be 10-year-old, my soon-to-be 4-year-old, they are like the pickiest eaters ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
So trying to meal prep and be like, oh, okay, you can say, hey, you want spaghetti for lunch tomorrow or for dinner tomorrow? Oh, yeah, awesome. Soon as 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock comes around, you want spaghetti? No, that's nasty. I want chicken.
Yes. I totally agree. But you have to go with the principle that science suggests that you have to continually introduce these food items to your kids more than once.
Yeah.
You can't let them win. They know if they can manipulate you and get you to do something else, but kids really do thrive off a routine. So start by making and prepping foods and getting them involved. Asking them what they want to eat helps. Getting them involved in the preparation of the meals will definitely create some excitement. And then be like, go ahead, chef. For instance, my daughter's name is Empress. I'd be like, taste your asparagus, Chef Empress. And she's super excited about it. And then you just continue to introduce it and the kids get used to, 7 days a week and different dishes rotating.
Absolutely. Look, we got to take a quick pause. At least when we come forward, we're going to continue the conversation with you. We want to take some thoughts and some questions from our online culture crew and continue the discussion. Folks, stay with us as we talk about how do we improve the state of childhood obesity and how do we make sure that we learn how to eat healthy. Folks, continue to join us in the conversation. Post your thoughts on YouTube as we're streaming live there, and continue to watch us on Black Star Network and Amazon News. And of course, stay tuned. It's the culture here on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, you're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We have been talking to the diva chef and nutrition expert, Elise Harris, as we talk about the issue of how do we eliminate the issue of childhood obesity, which is running rampant right now. The numbers have actually tripled over the years, all the way up until this current year. And many people are trying to figure out what to do with this. Well, Elise has been offering some thoughts and her insights around the issue, and we want to hear your questions and share your comments as well. Make sure you post it on YouTube as we're streaming live under Roland Martin on YouTube, and of course you can find us on blackstarnetwork.com and Amazon News. Elise, I want to bring you back into the discussion here as we're talking about doing our due diligence from everything from meal planning to just having the overall conversation about nutrition and the importance of it. This is very, very intentional. Every time I have discussions with individuals like yourself, sisters and brothers like yourself, Elise, I keep in mind that being healthy has to be an intentional, conscious choice. That it doesn't just happen overnight. That no one is just going to drop like some magic potion for you to get your body right, to get your mind right. This is work. there's a level of sweat equity that's attached to this process.
Yeah, Farajii, you ain't lying. This is work, okay? And this is not like, you have to think about fitness and nutrition and healthy living as like a marriage. If you out here and you cheating on your spouse, are you going to have much of a marriage? It's the same thing with your diet. If you're out here and you're cheating on your diet, not being consistent in the gym, not drinking your water, then you're not going to have a very great physique. So it is 24/7 work. And I always tell my clients, you need discipline, because motivation ain't always going to show up. But babe, discipline will be knocking at your door in the morning once you get rolling into a routine. So you got to build that discipline muscle, period.
Absolutely. It's a lot of discipline. Let me share with you one of our culture crew, my guy, Real Brooklyn. He said something I think that I know that you already know, but just has to be said over and over again. He said, we are inundated with processed foods. Everything is geared around convenience nowadays, and food is no exception. Unfortunately, most of those convenient foods is packed with salt, sugar, carbs, etc. So going back to that original part of the food process, the food deserts, you said that you've been food insecure during your years. But we are inundated with processed food. Let me tell you, I have gone from eating meat to being vegetarian to being a vegan to eating meat back again. And it's like trying to figure this situation out, right? But we do have a lot of processed foods. Everything says healthy, everything says homemade, everything says organic, and but there's still a lot of mystery. There's still a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people don't have knowledge of whether this is actually healthy, whether this is actually good for my body, works for my body. So help us to kind of break down this processed food dilemma that we find ourselves in.
That is an excellent point. Okay. You are right. You go in the store and everything is marketed healthy, but it just really comes back to like knowing what you're looking for. You should know how to read a label. Because a lot of times things that are marketed as healthy, they're really not. You should be looking at the sodium content. And if it says 1,876 million milligrams of sodium in 1 ounce serving, because that's what it says. Okay. Like, no, put it back. It is bad for you. And so it's just those little things of knowing what you're looking for. For instance, when you pick up keto stuff, because everybody loves to do keto and all these fad diets, and it says low carb, then it has to have something that tastes good. So what is it? Is it high in saturated fat? Is it loaded with artificial sugar, which is not good for you at the end of the day, either in excess? So it's really just knowing what you're looking for and staying away from processed foods altogether. Like, go for proteins, go for things that you have to cook at home, like, rice and grains. Go for fresh vegetables and steam them yourself. It's easier that way. You save more money buying fresh, knowing what's seasonal. Look up, use Google and look up what's seasonal. Seasonal produce is always usually more affordable. Go to your farmer's market. Just shop fresh.
So when you talked about the piece around discipline, what do you tell your clients when it doesn't have to be the local fast food joint. It doesn't have to be. I'm just talking about you go into the store and you might see some quote unquote healthy cookies, healthy ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So what do you how do you strengthen the discipline of an individual who's like, well, this is healthy. They say it's made of, like, I love ice cream made from cashew milk.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, and it's marketed healthy.
Right. And so I'm like, okay, it's vegan ice cream. I get it. So this is awesome stuff, right? But even that can be too much if if you're trying to meet a certain nutritional weight goal, right?
Yes, I always tell my clients, you have to do what's sustainable for you and what works with where you're at, and then use building blocks and build it out so that you find a sustainable program that's easy to follow for you. I also make them hold themselves accountable. Use MyFitnessPal. I know y'all done heard about that app. You can scan a label, and if you scan that label of cookies that has a pack of 3 cookies in it, and you don't get to eat nothing else for the rest of the day because you done hit your macros, then maybe you put them cookies back. So it's really all about accountability and everything in moderation. Watch your portions, mind your portion control. You don't have to go cold turkey and not have any of the things you love. You can still live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle but it's portion control that people miss usually.
Portion. What's I heard the old adage: if it's this big, if you can make a palm, and it shouldn't be bigger than a fist that you make. Is that still true?
Oh yeah, with protein. But for instance, that ice cream you love, Farajii, look at the label. It might say,
wait a minute, hold on, Elise. Don't talk about this ice cream. I just brought that up as an example. Please don't tell me I need to stop eating this ice cream.
Look, we bringing up the ice cream, okay? Look, so read the label, and it might say, oh, this is pretty healthy, but per serving. And that container, you might eat the whole container, and that's 4 servings per container. So it's just those little things, knowing those right there, like just eat 1 serving. If the ice cream says it's 1 ounce for these macros, then have that 1 ounce. The problem is, as a society, we don't measure no 1 ounce of ice cream. We're eating 3 and 4 and 5 servings of whatever that is that we're eating. And so it's like, it's very important to be cautious and of the serving size. That's where they get you.
So in terms of passing on that knowledge to children, how do you have that conversation with children?
So I like to use divided plates with my daughter. I think that helps with like portion control. I try to make sure that I'm putting variety on her plate and letting her have the things she loves, but also encouraging her to try new things like eat your vegetables, things like that. It's as simple as, if you want to have rice at home, have the rice, but just salt the water. Don't use butter. Those are ways that you can cut down your saturated fat, cut down the unhealthy things, and still eat it. If people think I skip carbs and I lose weight, it doesn't work like that. It's better to eat customized for your body and eat a sustainable, healthy, and balanced diet.
Right. Look, we got to take another pause, at least. When we come forward, I want to kind of go a little deeper because this childhood obesity issue is such a big issue. And I know that you got some other tips and resources that you can share with our watchers today to help their children, to help their nieces and nephews and grandchildren. Because, you know, it's crazy. There is the work that we do at home, and then there's the work that needs to be done while they're in the streets. And then you got to think about the work that they need to be doing in the schools, because if your child is eating school lunches, school breakfasts, that is just as important too. Because I remember growing up in high school, at least I ain't gonna hold you. I tore down some tasty cakes. I remember just tearing down tasty cakes. That was lunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me 2 packs of tasty cakes, let me get some milk real quick, and I'm moving it on. Oh yeah, and buttercrunch cookies.
Okay, but listen, school lunch ain't how it used to be anymore.
No,
school lunch is not anything like it used to be when we went to school, and that's unfortunate. So it's really important to give your kids the proper tools at home so that they do make healthy choices when they're not with you. Studies suggest that the more you introduce it to them, and that's what they know, they go out in the world and that's what they choose. I could tell you, my daughter comes and tells me, there was chicken for lunch. I don't eat school chicken. I was like, okay, excuse me. She's talking about she don't eat this and she don't eat that at lunch because she's very picky. We have to pack her lunch. She likes to eat raw vegetables and stuff like that. She's not a huge meat eater. So these are the things that, you know, you can instill in your children so that they pack a lunch, make healthy choices when they're out, and just they'll crave that more than the junk. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have these things, but they should know how to live a balanced lifestyle.
Absolutely. I got a question about that when we come forward from our next pause. But folks, stay with us. Look, post your comments. I would love to get you more of your thoughts around this issue as we're talking about dealing with the state of childhood obesity with fitness guru, nutrition expert Elise Harris. Join us in the conversation right now and stay tuned. It's the Culture Key on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home. You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We've been talking to Elise Harris, who's a nutrition expert and fitness guru, to give us some insight and some of her thoughts around how we deal with the state of childhood obesity. We've been learning a lot. She's been sharing a lot, but I want to hear from you. Post your comments on YouTube as we're streaming live there under the Roland Martin YouTube page, and let's continue the discussion with Elise. Elise, I wanted to get your take on this because you talked about how your daughter's a picky eater. My son is the same way when he eats, that's the way. We could be talking all day about how picky children are about food, right?
Yes,
but
absolutely.
But one thing that I read, I know that at the end of last month, Cardi B, who was in some level of controversy, but that's not new to her. But she was in some level of controversy because she had made a post about her child's school lunch, how she packs so many different options, right? She had from the juice boxes to the raw vegetables to cookies and everything. And many people were like, oh my God, why would you pack so much food for a child like this and blah, blah, blah. And she made the point that, look, I'm giving my child, her daughter, culture options, right? And there were some nutritional experts that sided with Cardi and saying, that is a good plan. That's a good strategy. That if you give your children everything from maybe a little bit of the fruit snacks, some little bit of the cookies, some vegetables, that it keeps the balance going. I want to get your take on that. What should be a part of the school lunch for our children today?
That's absolutely spot on. I agree with Cardi B. I do the same thing with my daughter. She has a bento box. And I give her a little cookie. I give her some strawberries. I give her some vegetables. I give her some grilled shrimp. I do give her choices. And I noticed that she will make choices from what's in that box of healthy. And she eats. So that's great. And I think that in schools, there needs to be more balance, more vegetables, more emphasis on farm to table food and cleaner, healthier options.
So when we pack school lunch, should it be like this, just an array of choices? Because I've done that. My son, I could pack 6 different things for my son. He come back, it'd be like 4 left.
I like I said, pack that bento box. I like the little compartments. It keeps everything in its place.
Love them. Definitely. So children thrive better when they have choices. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And when children feel like they have a choice, they're more apt to make a choice. And that's what you want. You want them to go out into the world and confidently make these choices. And with my daughter, getting her involved in the cooking and saying, okay, which vegetable would you like? You want broccoli today or you want asparagus? She knows she has to pick one. She picks one and she eats it versus giving them something that they're going to automatically refuse. It's kind of like reverse psychology a little bit.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What do we say? Because you talked about in the beginning of this discussion, you talked about it starts at home.
Yes, absolutely.
How do we emphasize this to our schools, right? When my son complained about school lunch, I try to empower him to take on the advocate's role, to talk to his teacher. He's only in the 3rd grade. So trying to get him into that leadership role and say, well, son, talk to the school, talk to your teacher, and let's see if we can work it out. He did come back with some information. He was kind of like leading the charge, but something he said, Dad, they get our school lunch from a separate company. Now this is like a 9-year-old. He's like, yeah, they bring the food into us. So the school doesn't really have too many choices on what's on the menu. It comes from, an outside supplier. So I'm wondering, because I know a lot of schools operate like that. How can we make a dent in that to tell the schools, hey, this is not healthy enough. This is not enough. This is not tasty enough. This is not, as fitting for a child as it should be. How do we do that part?
Yeah, get involved as a parent. Go to PTO meetings. speak up about these things. Just like you said, which you're get involved in student council, get your students speaking up. I think, power is in numbers, and the more that people create awareness of how important it is to eat healthy, especially with COVID, I think that people are now understanding. A lot of the people that experience complications from COVID had pre-existing conditions, all which can be reversed, bettered with proper nutrition. So I think that COVID revealed to us that we were unhealthy as a society, and we need to start prioritizing health and wellness a lot more. Don't you agree?
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But I did hear some unfortunate stories where people who were deemed healthy did succumb to COVID, and unfortunately, some even passed away.
Yeah.
And I think that created a huge scare for a lot of people. It was almost as if it was like, when you have a major global pandemic and health crisis like COVID, that no one is safe. There's no guarantee.
Right. And there's no guarantee.
I think that resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. There's no guarantee. And, so the best defense is having a defense, which is being healthy, prioritizing that, trying to stay in tip-top shape. So health is wealth. I always tell people. So
what kind of exercises do you recommend that people institute in their child's regimen to help deal with this childhood obesity? What are you talking about? Walking, running?
Yeah.
Look, I live in LA. Hey, Elise, I live in LA, and I saw this the other day. It blew me away. It's like 9:00 at night. I saw this man running with his son. It was a pretty warm night, but this man is running with his son at 9:00 at night. His shirt is off. The little boy's shirt is off. The little boy got some weight on him. You know what I'm saying? You can tell he's about 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And his dad or whoever, his uncle, whoever this guy was running with, come on, son, come on. And the little boy looked like he wanted to fall out.
Oh.
He wanted to fall out, but he was trucking through it. He was hustling through it. But I'm thinking, is that the way that we can have children to fall in love with wanting to exercise and keep their bodies in tip-top shape?
Yes, I mean, any start is a great start, right? So if you're not doing anything now, just go for the neighborhood walk. It's beautiful outside. Spring has sprung. Not so much with the air quality. I don't know if you're dealing with that over there.
No. We're not dealing. We deal with other air quality issues.
We're dealing with not today. If you're over here dealing with the air quality, Diva Chef ain't tell you to go out and not today. But just like the family walk, something like that. Like my daughter loves to go to the gym. Again, make the gym a safe environment. If you can, there's a lot of gyms out there that are family and child friendly now. So, you can bring your daughter, you can bring your son. My daughter has play weights, and she blew my mind with this, knowing how many exercises and being able to take me through a workout, knowing the names of them and how to execute them. My daughter loves to run. There's all kinds of things you can get them involved in. And if they're not into that, take them to a trampoline place. That's a way to sneak in some, fun while getting healthy and getting them exercising and get moving every day.
Absolutely. Culture Crew members checking in. Danita, you said the little ones love to cook with you. If you let them cook the healthy food, they think it tastes better because they made it. Does your daughter help you in the kitchen?
She does. She knows how to make about 5 dishes, and she's 3. And she's very strong-willed. And it's funny because I'm a chef, and it's just crazy to me to see my daughter following in my footsteps with the nutrition and the working out. And she knows how to make asparagus. She makes mini pizzas. And we don't deprive over here. We just do portion control. So we make them mini, and sometimes we have pizza night. She loves to make burgers. She's very good with her hands. She loves making homemade bread. So she is absolutely on point with that about getting your kids involved. They're more likely to try it and enjoy the process.
Absolutely. Janelle, you checked in and you said with the hand claps, you said farm to table. Yes, we could do that with urban and community farming. I love the bento box idea. Kids need more fresh options.
Yes.
I wanted to take about 30 seconds or so before we take our next pause. Talk to us about this. There's a whole movement around growing your own food, the urban farm movement. In the East Coast, that's major. Here in the West Coast, it's major. How do we get that to fit? You talked about a farmer's market, but can we bring that? How do we institute that at our homes?
It's just getting out in the community, networking with those who have the community of fresh produce farmers markets. There are such things as Black-owned farmers markets as well. And you just stand and know, you go to these places and you support, you tell your friends about it, you tell your family about it. We're stronger in numbers. So that's definitely on point. She's right about that. There is a way to be able to bring the farm to table fresh idea to the table at schools. It's like one school at a time.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got to take another pause. At least when we come forward, I want you to share as many of your resources and many ways that people can learn more about the work that you're doing. And of course, learning more about how they can keep their minds and their bodies at a good place. So I would like you to share that information when we come forward. Folks, stay with us. More conversation with fitness guru, diva chef Elise Harris, and of course with you right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shootings.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear. Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home. You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We've been checking in with the diva chef and nutrition expert, Elise Harris, as we've been talking about dealing with the issue of childhood obesity. And Elise has been covering the gambit, folks, and I want to bring her back into the frame, please. We've been talking about this. I mean, really enjoying the conversation because, Elise, I feel like you're sharing so much good information, even though some information people may say, well, I've heard this before. But repetition is key. Sometimes we just, in the midst of life, we lose sight, we forget things. We're like, you know what, that is something. Because I think that's the other thing about when we're talking about these issues like childhood obesity. It comes across as being such a big thing. It's like, oh, childhood obesity. And if we kind of break it down into small pieces and say, okay, if there's a childhood obesity, first let me start with where I have power in, which is my own kitchen. And then start working outward, right? Dealing, making sure that my children, my family are eating healthy, making sure the children, then the children and the extended family are eating healthy, making sure I'm having conversations with my nieces and nephews, my cousins, and all of those folks that are eating healthy, right? Like it has to be a place of power, like, and I think that is helpful to give people some ability to manage or at least start to address this issue. It starts, going back to your original point, it starts with us. Yes, it really starts with us. And I feel like somewhere along the line, we have lost, and I'm speaking of the adults, we have lost sight of those things. How do we get back to that? Because I know as a people, we have always been growers and farmers. As a people, we have always been in tune with nature, but that's been disrupted over years and decades of what we experience in this country. So how do we get back to that part?
We get back to that by just recentering yourself and setting a goal. I always tell my clients it always starts with a goal. Maybe your goal is to eat healthier, maybe 2 days out the week. You just start in small sections and you build that out, and you get to a point of where you look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe I used to eat those things, or I can't believe I ever not meal prepped, or, so I would just say it starts with a goal. We need to set goals to be healthier as a people, to really just pass that on to generations, because we can change. But like you said, it starts with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So one question that we got from one of our crew members, Farajii, they said, what are some good ways to get teenagers to eat healthier? How do we modify the menu that way it addresses teenagers versus 3-4-year-olds? What do we have to change on that menu, at least?
I would say definitely getting them involved as well. And moderation and portion control is key. It's always going to come back to that. Like, have the cheats and stuff like that, but get back on track. Show them what healthy eating looks like. It starts with us. They do what they see us model. And giving them a choice in the matter of like, okay, here's the suggestions that I have for meals. What would you like to have? And incorporate those with some of your healthier options to go with it. And you'll see that they just embrace it.
And, one of the things that I know that we didn't get a chance to talk about, but I'm going to bring it back. And I know it's a big conversation. So don't get mad when I ask this question. But people are emotional eaters.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's when we're talking about health and nutrition, it's not just about what we're consuming. It's what is the mindset that we have when we start consuming, when we start eating. Help us. And I know it's a big one. That's a big question, but can you give us some tidbits on how that we can kind of like adjust that mindset, so that way, even in the midst of joy and pain, we not run into to that pint of ice cream? You know what I'm
not
saying?
Not joy and pain.
So help us on that about being an emotional eater.
Yes, as a behavior change coach, you don't know how often I see this. And it literally takes setting those goals, writing it out, and working your way towards making better choices when you are stressed out. Find something else, meditate, get in the gym. You'd be surprised how the gym and mental health all ties into the motivation that you need in order to discipline yourself to make healthy choices on a daily basis. So just find other outlets, recognize when you're going through a time where you're emotionally wanting something, and replace it with something healthy.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Elise, we
all go through that. We all go through that.
You go through that because you look pretty. You look like you about to just tear something up. Look like you can handle the world right now.
Yes, I go through it myself. Who doesn't have emotions tied to food? That's what holidays are for, right? Holidays are about it's the emotional connection that you get, the enjoyment. So that's technically emotional eating as well. So we all do it, but it's just everything in moderation and making sure that you have those tools in place for strategies for success when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle or making better choices. I'm telling you, get in the gym. Them endorphins get the pumping, baby.
Let me tell you something. One of the things that I enjoy doing is working out outside. Not because I'm trying to flex, but because I feel like with the fresh air
and the sun,
it just motivates me, right? Like when I've been in the gym and I work out in the gym, it's like, it's cool, you on the machine, but it just don't hit you. At least for me, I can't say for everybody, but at least for me, like you going to the beach, going to work out, getting that fresh air, you feel like life is coming back into your body.
Yes, I'm with you on that, Farajii. I love me a good beach workout. Okay, and that sand creating that resistance, that sun, that wind, you'd be like, I'm a sun goddess. Definitely, I agree with you on that. I'm with you on that one.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get all of your information, because folks are asking, what's your social media? How can people get more information, more resources, and perhaps they come to you for more guidance? Talk to us, Elise.
So you can find me on the gram at DivaChef412, my website, EliseMHarris.com, Twitter, EliseTDC, and that's where you find me, baby. Let's talk about.
Look at Elise right there, y'all. Transforming to the new year.
Let's go, baby.
Well, Elise, I appreciate your time with us today. More importantly, I appreciate your recommendations, your insight, the tips, all of that you bring to the table, and helping us to understand the situation of childhood obesity and how we can get our hands on it. Again, folks, this is the Diva Chef. She's a nutrition expert, Elise Harris, and we're so happy to have her on the show. Elise, we would love to bring you back on as more conversations about health and wellness among children and adults continue to be a part of the conversation. So certainly want to bring you back on.
Thank you so much for having me, Farajii, and letting me share my passion for everything health, wellness, fitness, and nutrition with your community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Elise. We truly.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home. You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. What a great conversation we just had with Elise Harris. Make sure y'all do your due diligence, follow her on social media, and pose your question. If you found that we didn't talk about an area that is very, very near and dear to you, I would actually recommend that you go and check her out on all social media platforms. And yeah, some of you have noticed her face. She's been on so many different shows, Hell's Kitchen. I mean, she's been on a plethora of shows about cooking and everything else. So she's doing her thing. But those are the type of voices that you will get to hear on The Culture. And we certainly are happy to have had the opportunity to talk to our sister Elise Harris. Now, final conversation I wanted to bring to you. And look, let me tell y'all, I did not know that it was, this story is really something else. This is the story of Tupac finally getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, folks. Look how many years it has been. But I thought this is a perfect way for us to end today's show because it speaks volumes about where we are in the culture. But y'all know Tupac Shakur, one of the greatest hip hop artists of our generation. He finally got a star on the Walk of Fame yesterday. And on hand to receive the star and to show their love and appreciation was his sister. And I want to share with you what his sister, Siekwe, had to say about the legendary actor and hip-hop artist and how this means so much to her family and to the legacy of Tupac Shakur. Take a look.
As the proud sister of Tupac Shakur, the daughter of Mutulu and Afeni Shakur, it fills my heart with honor to stand here today representing the Shakur family. Tupac knew deep down that he was always meant for something great. And as his little sister, I had the privilege to watch that greatness unfold. Okay. From the first time he stepped foot on this stage of the Apollo Theater at 13 years old, before anyone recognized his name, he knew he had the dream to have a star here on the Walk of Fame. And now we gather here today to unveil Tupac's star, not only paying tribute to his contribution in the music industry, but also speaks volumes to the lasting impact he's had on this world. Today we're not just honoring a star on the ground, but we're honoring the work and the passion that he has put into making his dreams come true. His heavenly star will shine a little brighter today. And once again, he has made us all extremely proud. We love you, Tupac.
That was his sister Sakiwa Set Shakur, giving her thank yous and showing her gratitude for honoring her big brother, Tupac Amaru Shakur. And y'all remember Tupac made a name for himself. And one of the big things that she emphasizes that he always knew that he was going to be great, that he was going to do something great and be great. And certainly he has done that. We are still celebrating the life, the legacy of Tupac, all that he brought to the conversation, all that he brought to the culture. But there aren't too many artists that have done what Tupac was able to do in a very short period of time. And even though he was gunned down on September 13th, 1996, at the very young age of 25 years old, he was able to impact a whole world. And so we continue to honor and show love to our brother Tupac Shakur, who has done amazing work. He has shown us so many different facets of what life is like as a Black man in America. And so we hope and pray that he rests in power and in peace. And big shout out to the Shakur family. Take a look at this, folks. This just happened yesterday again. And here in Los Angeles at the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where Tupac Shakur was able to get that star on Hollywood Boulevard. Man, oh man, big shout out to the Shakur family. And to, again, we hope and pray that Tupac rests in power and in peace. We got to take a quick pause. When we come back, some final remarks. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
We feel the hidden impacts of climate change that land harder in Black, brown, and Native communities.
Not many people talk about it because they clearly don't know our lives. But with President Biden's landmark infrastructure and climate plans, our issues are finally seen.
Removing lead pipes means we know our water is safe. Cutting carbon pollution helps our kids breathe easier. 1.5 million new jobs means stable work in communities. The impact we need
right now.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Big shout out to all of our very special guests today, Mayor Quentin Hart of Waterloo, Iowa, for checking in, and of course our sister Elise Harris. Make sure you do your due diligence and continue to support us here at Black Star Network. You hear Roland talk about it all the time, and I'm gonna just emphasize it for you today. Your support means everything to us. So go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com. blackstarnetwork.com. Do your due diligence, provide any financial support you can give. And of course, you also download the app for free on all of your smartphones and your devices. And follow us on social media at Black Star Network on Instagram and Twitter, and also like our page on Facebook. Now, while you're also on social media, make sure you follow me, yours truly, Farajii Muhammad. You can find me on Instagram at The Real Farajii, and also on Twitter at Farajii, and I would love to connect and continue to build the crew, the culture crew, our beloved community here on the culture. Big shout out to the show, our sister Suzette, and to Cherie yesterday. Great conversation, got a lot of great feedback from folks about the discussion we had around Cardi B and what she had to say. But this show, this platform, this is all about you. So I appreciate each and every one of you for joining us today. Big shout out to my production team, my man King Keenan, Maddie, my producer, Joel, and of course, the great folks at Black Star Network to make us sound good and look good each and every day. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Stay tuned. Up next is Roland Martin Unfiltered at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we will talk tomorrow. We got some great shows, great ideas, great conversations for you over the next week. So just tune in tomorrow for another dynamic edition of The Culture right here, exclusively here, only here, the Black Star Network. Have a great evening. Talk to you soon. Peace.